Hello, everyone, and thanks once again for tuning in to Iconic Keys. So, today I'd like to take a look at the first issue of Silver Surfer's solo series. Issue 3 of the series was also a key and gave us the first appearance of Mephisto. Issue 4, with its iconic cover and low print run, is also considered a key, and I'd like to give each of them their own video in time, but today we're just going to focus on the first issue. The Silver Surfer made his debut in Fantastic Four 48 in March of 1966 as the herald of the planet-devouring Galactus. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby had, by the mid-60s, developed a collaborative technique known as the Marvel Method. They described the method as the two initially discussing story ideas. After this, Kirby would work from a brief synopsis and draw the individual scenes and plot details. Lee would finally add the dialogue and captions for the story. When Kirby turned in his pencil art for issue 48 of the Fantastic Four, he had included a new character that he and Lee had not discussed. Lee later recalled this in 1995, stating, "There, in the middle of the story we had so carefully worked out, was a nut on some sort of flying surfboard. I thought, Jack, this time you've really gone too far." Kirby explained that the story's agreed-upon antagonist, a godlike cosmic predator of planets named Galactus, should have some sort of herald, and that he created the surfboard because he was tired of drawing spaceships. Taken by the noble features of the new character, who turned on his master to help defend Earth, Lee overcame his initial skepticism and began adding characterization. The Silver Surfer soon became a key part of the unfolding story. Following the Surfer's debut, Lee and Kirby brought him back as a recurring guest in Fantastic Four issues 55 through 61, issue 72, and 74 through 77. These issues ranged from October of 1966 to August of 1968. The character made his solo debut in the backup story of Fantastic Four Annual number 5 in November of 67. The following year, Lee launched the solo title for the Silver Surfer. John Buscema was the penciler for the first 17 issues of the series, with Kirby returning for the 18th and the final issue. Thematically, the stories dealt with the Surfer's exile on Earth and the inhumanity of man as observed by this noble yet fallen hero. Though short-lived, the series became known as one of Lee's most thoughtful and introspective works. Following his series cancellation, the Surfer made sporadic appearances as a guest star or antagonist in such books as Thor, The Defenders, and the Fantastic Four. Lee remained partial to the Surfer over the years, even asking other writers not to use him as a general rule. Lee and Kirby eventually collaborated on a seminal 1978 graphic novel starring the character. It was the only original story featured in the Marvel Fireside Books series. Issue 1 opens with the Surfer cruising high above the Earth. As he sails along, he spots a space capsule as it falls from orbit. He gives chase and finds the craft at the bottom of the ocean. Blasting open the doors, he brings the unconscious Colonel John Jameson out of the water and deposits him safely on a nearby aircraft carrier. The other sailors think that the Surfer is a threat, perhaps due to the recent events in New York where the Surfer's former liege Galactus attempted to consume the Earth. The military sends jets aloft to attack the Surfer. He easily speeds away from them, though. We also see that the Russians and Chinese are firing surface-to-air missiles at the Surfer once he comes into range. These likewise have no effect. The Surfer begins to lament his banishment on Earth. The Surfer longs to be able to return to his home planet of Zenn-La. He thinks back to his time on Zenn-La. The Surfer's home planet was an advanced world that had attained a utopian society through their technological advancements. All war, crime, and illness had been eradicated through a multitude of scientific achievements. Before he became the Silver Surfer, he was known as Norrin Radd. While most of his fellow citizens were happy with their life on this nirvana, Norrin had grown bored and restless. Back in the present, the Surfer stops briefly in the Himalayan mountains and runs into a group of Yetis that instantly attack it. Instead of fighting them, though, and taking a chance on hurting them, he distracts them with his surfboard and escapes back into the sky. This attack makes him think of his time recently spent on Earth, though, and the difficulties he's had with the locals. He ponders particularly on his encounters with the Hulk and Doctor Doom. both of whom attacked him despite his approach to them as a friend. He fought the Hulk and ultimately had to use his cosmic blasts on the green monster. Dr. Doom had initially welcomed the Surfer in, only to later attempt to take the Surfer's powers for himself with a device he had crafted. After the encounter with the Yetis, the Surfer happens upon the ruins of a once prosperous city long forgotten in the frozen mountains. He now, though, finds only a cold, icy wind and dismal decay. Strolling through the city, he is reminded of his last days on his homeworld of Zenn-La. It was on Zenn-La that Norrin was with his beloved, Shalla-Bal. He tells his lady that he is unhappy on his homeworld, and he feels that there is nothing left to achieve there. He feels that his only true happiness will be in the discoveries that can be had beyond the planet, out among the stars. At that moment, the citizen's alarm sounds and an announcement is made. It seems that a gigantic alien spacecraft is headed for Zenn-La. The planet, having attained a state of total peace, has no weapons or defenses to guard against a possible threat. No weapons save the weapon supreme. Zenn-La's supercomputer has determined that the threat must be eliminated, so advises the citizens that their only option is to use the doomsday device known as the Weapon Supreme. The Weapon Supreme is a weapon so powerful that it would destroy much of the planet's buildings when it is fired at the spaceborne threat. The inhabitants of Zenn-La resolve to accept the computer's recommendation and do fire the weapon. Unfortunately, when the weapon is used, the alien ship takes refuge by sliding into a higher dimension, completely avoiding the force of the blast. Zenn-La, however, sustains heavy, planet-wide damage from the firing of the device. The inhabitants of Zenn-La feel that all is lost. Norrin, however, is determined to save his planet. Norrin finds a member of the Council of Scientists and has him provide Norrin with a spaceship that can reach the alien spacecraft. Norrin travels into space and meets Galactus, the devourer of worlds. Norrin pleads with the towering giant to spare the citizens of Zenn-La. Galactus explains that he craves only the planet's energy and cares nothing for the creatures that dwell on the planet beneath. Galactus does tell Norrin, however, that if he had a willing herald to probe the cosmos for planets rich in energy, he would spare the world below him. Norrin then agrees to be such a herald, if Galactus will accept his services. Galactus grants Zenn-La's salvation and uses his powers cosmic to transform Norrin Radd into the Silver Surfer, Herald of Galactus. The Surfer visits Shalla-Bal and tells her of the deal he has made to save her and their world. He tells her to carry on without him, and see to it that Zenn-La's future is not to grow complacent and powerless in the shadow of future threats that may appear. He then bids her and his homeworld farewell, and undertakes his new duties as Galactus's herald. The Surfer soared through the cosmos, visiting countless worlds, ever onward searching for planets to fulfill his master's needs. The Silver Surfer strove ever to offer up only worlds devoid of life as best as he could. It is later revealed that Galactus had grown weary of the Surfer's attempts to spare life, and had used his power to manipulate the Surfer's morality. This tweaking of the Silver Surfer's behavior eventually led him to discover and offer up the Earth as a target for Galactus. The Surfer soon regretted this decision, though, and fought back with the Fantastic Four, defying his master for the first time to prevent the planet's consumption. In Fantastic Four, issue 50, we see Galactus agree to leave Earth, but before departing, he banishes the Surfer to the planet. Tired of his imprisonment on this hostile planet, and missing the vastness of outer space, the Silver Surfer wonders where his ultimate destiny lies. After the origin of the Silver Surfer, we get another short story in this issue titled The Wonder of the Watcher. It's a 13-page story and gives us the origins of a Watu's race, in which a group of aliens give knowledge of atomic energy to a primitive society. This backfires, though, and the once peaceful society become violent and dangerous, destroying neighboring planets as well as themselves. The well-intentioned alien race vow never to interfere in the course of another species' history ever again. They then resign themselves to become forever the Watchers. Since appearing in Marvel Comics, the Silver Surfer has been an incredibly important character. He's featured in 7 volumes of his own series and appeared in countless minis and one-shots. The Surfer has played a role in the arcs of many of Marvel's biggest characters and filled an integral role in many of the publisher's most important storylines. He was a member of the Defenders along with Namor, the Hulk, and Doctor Strange. but eventually his desires to leave the Earth led him to depart the group. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, stories had to be changed since the company didn't have the cinematic rights to the character. In the pages of Marvel Comics, it was the Silver Surfer that arrived on Earth to warn Doctor Strange of the machinations of the evil Thanos rather than Hulk. When the Incredible Hulk found himself stranded on the planet of Sakaar, it was the Surfer that the Hulk battled in the arena, as opposed to Thor, as we saw in the film Ragnarok. The Hulk breaks the Surfer's obedience disc in the fight, and the Surfer proceeds to destroy everyone else's disc in the arena, aiding the Hulk in his struggles against the Red King. The Surfer offers to return the Hulk to Earth, but the Hulk chooses to stay on Sakaar for the time being. I thought I would be able to track down some print run numbers on this issue, but unfortunately I wasn't. Other Marvel issues from that month, though, were X-Men issue 47, which had a circulation of 273,000 plus. Fantastic Four 77 was estimated to be almost 345,000 copies strong. Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, issue 57, came in at around 286,000. So I'm thinking the Surfer's premiere issue was probably around 300,000 as well. 11 copies of those 300,000 have survived to be graded at 9.8 and are now valued at approximately $40,000 each. You can get a raw mid-grade copy, though, for around $500 if you want one for your collection. The Silver Surfer is one of Marvel's coolest characters, and will hopefully be soaring onto the silver screen once again in the MCU. I have to say that personally, I did like the cinematic portrayal of the character in 2007's Rise of the Silver Surfer. I thought Lawrence Fishburne did an excellent job as the voice of the character. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of Norrin Radd back then, but I'm sure we're in for a real treat in the near future as Marvel and Disney debut their film version of the character. Until next time, thanks for watching and take care.